what does it take to have a dialogue? Because about 4 or 5 days ago, Babagana Kinkibe was saying that everything in this country is negotiable. What you cannot negotiate is life, because only God gives life. You can't negotiate that. Every relationship is negotiable. If you are in a relationship with somebody and he feels uncomfortable, you have other ways of discussing with him. You can sit down with him and talk. I have said on this platform, why can't this government sit down with Nnamdi Kanu, sit down with whomsoever is the head of bandits or Boko Haram? We haven't had serious discussions. And you see somebody like the Attorney General of the Federation. I wish the National Security Advisor was the Attorney General of this country. It is this same Attorney General that wrote a letter to the National Assembly. In a civilized country, he should not be in government. That is again where I blame President Buhari. Buhari nominated Magu as chairman of EFCC, and he wrote a letter to the National Assembly that Magu was corrupt. Even if he was, you couldn't do that. It can't happen in America. That the president nominates somebody, you wrote the first letter, he renominates the person, you wrote another letter, and you're still in government. There must be a purpose he's serving to them. And he's now showing it. About 2 weeks ago, he advocated for emergency declaration in the Southeast, in Anambra in particular. And I said, thank God we now have a basis of comparative analysis. Could we look at what has happened in Anambra and the rest of the Southeast and compare it with the daily occurrence in North Central, Northwest, and Northeast? There's no relatedness. See, recently it was the train line. It's a daily news now. All print media, television stations, there's nothing else is happening that killing, abduction, children, wives, everybody. And yet, he has not demanded for a state of emergency. Even when the governor of his home state, a Katsina governor, is now asking for the bandits to be declared a terrorist organization. The government hasn't done that. The herdsmen that have killed more people than any other organization put together, they haven't declared them a terrorist organization. The Mieti Allah people that have insulted the whole southern governors because they took a stand on grazing, the government hasn't said anything about that. Instead, they go about defending them. So sometimes you wonder, where are we really heading to? Is it one country? Because there's love of country. I was born in the north, and I regard myself, until recently, as a northerner. During the war, we were called Hausa Igbos. And I was proud about it. I had no apologies to offer to anybody. Because we had a free attitude, you know, the attitude of Bakwumi. Why do you bother yourself? God will bring what you eat. But we now say that you have to work hard to find what you eat. God doesn't drop anything for you. You have to work hard. This is what the North has not realized. Because after 50-something years as president of Nigeria, they still have the poorest, the most uneducated, they have to ask themselves some basic questions. Don't shift your problems to other people. You don't.
All right, Chief. Election is just around the corner in Anambra State. Even though you have said a state of emergency, it shouldn't be declared, it's not necessary. But that election appears to be threatened by activities of, IPOB, the sit-at-home order that is being issued here and there, and then the fear of even people campaigning because of, insecurity in the southeast. What do you make of the Anambra election, and what are the chances that that election will hold and candidates or winners will emerge?
Well, I want to believe as a human being. I can't play God that the elections will hold. As of today, I believe it will hold. What will happen tomorrow, only God knows. But I believe it will hold. My people, I come from Anambra, and we have value for life. I said in my last appearance here that most of the violence you see in the Southeast are imported violence. Igbos are not used to killing, shedding blood. We are not used. If there are elements who are doing that, they are being supported from outside. And they have a purpose of doing that. This is why now you hear some of them calling for state of emergency, which they have not asked for. Where indeed there is civil war going on in 3 states. The governor of Niger State has virtually said he's lost all his communities. And they haven't declared any state of emergency there. The governor of Katsina State is asking for a state of emergency on security. They haven't declared state of emergency there. So why Anambra? Because of the sporadic action, occasional stops and gyration that happen for about 1 week or 2 weeks.
Are you not worried that this
I'm saying that there is no consistency about the violence in the Southeast. Imagine when the governor of Imo State said those who attacked the prison that they were not, it was not iPod, but his political opponents. Adamu, who was then IG of police, said no, it was iPod.
No,
And
but again, IPOB is issuing a sit-at-home order, which
yes,
everybody
said,
knows.
You know what?
Wouldn't that affect election? And don't you think it has an implication on the election at the end of the day?
You're asking of what I think.
Because we also hear IPOB saying they don't have anything to do with INEC and all of that.
Well, you see, when you become symptomatic about a problem, you don't look at the root cause of the problem. Look at the drama of bringing Nnamdi Kanu to court. A small boy who was not born during the Civil War. The drama of his coming to court. As if the senators, nobody could enter the court. Even court workers could not enter the court.
The media could not.
Media could not enter the court. What was the drama all about? You hype him. You make him more than what he is. And I'm asking, what has Nnamdi Kanu really done that others have not done? All he has asked for justice for his people. You may condemn the methodology of his wanting to achieve that justice because there's no leadership. Apart from the Enugu governor, who makes a serious attempt quietly to coordinate and organize our people. There are no governors who are working. If our governors were working, Nnamdi Kanu will not see a vacuum to fill. That is the problem. We leave the main problem and start talking about, declaring sit at home. Why shouldn't there be sit at home? If people don't want to sit at home, does anybody go to harass them? Even since they made the announcement, people should be going to work. Out of fear, people still sit at home. They have made it known that it's only the day they will take him to court that they will ask people to sit at home. And I tell you, people are gladly sitting at home.
They are not gladly sitting at home. I've sampled a whole lot of opinion. People think that the economy of the Southeast is being battered.
How do we can afford to lose that to make a point? That's the only way we can make a point now. Because this country has not recognized the contributions of the Igbos in this country. They have not. If not, tell me how the government will be talking about, there's a word they used, to dominate. That he has issued instruction to the military to dominate Anambra State during the election. Do you know what dominate means? Overwhelm, intimidate. That is even more serious than what iPod is talking about. Because now most people will not be prepared to come out, seeing rows and armored tanks and everything moving around. Because that's the meaning of dominate. We know security is important, but to use the word dominate, which the National Security Advisor re-emphasized. And to start with, we are talking about discrimination. Do you know, the National Security Council just met and took that decision. In that National Security Council, not one human being from the whole of former Eastern region. Not one human being. That is part of what Nnamdi Kanu is talking about. Injustice, lack of inclusion. Not one human being. Because we are not in the...
But Chief Dan...
Just a second. We are not in the service, any of the service distance. We're not security advisor. We are not chief of staff. We are nothing. They couldn't even invite... They have two lackeys in the Southeast. They could have called the governor of Imo State to come and tell them, theoretically, what is it that is happening as a basis of their decision taking. So in the National Security Council, where the decision was taken to dominate Anambra election, there was no Igbo man there, not one.
Okay, Chief Dan, I think quite genuinely a lot of people would also be listening to you and taking stock, as well as those who are living in Anambra right now. And, I do have a modicum of courage that some of the things that you have said are quite glaring. However, you talked about methodology of, expression of separatist, demands. The killings, the violence, the accusation that has fallen on the line of IPOB, and also the engineering of that faith through Nnamdi Kanu's leadership of such a group. The methodology, do you not also think that, you cannot rob Peter to pay Paul? Can we look at it differently?
There are tissues as a scientist. I accept empirical data if they are properly presented. I was, what do you call it? I was kidnapped on the 26th of last month.
Yes.
And held for about 3-4 hours before they released me and took my vehicle and every other thing. And I had courage to ask. I was saying the blood of Jesus. I saw young men carrying brand new AK-47 rifles, intimidating myself and my driver. And I got annoyed. I said, God, I'm above 70. I've lived the better part of my life. And I promise you I'll continue saying the truth until I die. And I asked them, what the hell do you think you're doing? He said, if I talk again, you will kill me. I said, you can't kill me. And the young man stopped his vehicle. I said, you can't kill me because I'm covered with the blood of Jesus. You can't kill me. I said, 50 years ago, I was almost a major in Biafran Army. And he almost wept. Oga, did you serve in Biafran Army? I said, yes. If we knew this, we wouldn't have taken up this job. The problem is coming from your own environment. If we knew that you helped to save our people, and I almost wept. And they said, nothing will happen to you and your driver. And they dropped us off. About 30 minutes after that, they told us that most of the violence were imported, that they are being paid to go and destroy their own properties from outside, so that they create a problem as Igbos are doing something wrong. Our people have value for life. Igbos have value for life, more than any other tribe in this country. And I make good to say it anywhere. Because anybody who goes around this country investing does not hate this country. There was a time I was in one of your programs doing around from 9 to 10 o'clock. Then my friend Ibrahim Dankwambo was governor of Gombe State. I had a 1-hour program. And I said, can any other tribe tell me which tribe has made any contribution to the development of this country, to the patriotism of this country more than Igbos have done? There's no part of this country you go and you don't see an Igbo man making an investment. Come to the whole of Eastern region, you don't see an Hausa man with one property. I said it on TV, and not one person. The governor called me. The Northern governor summoned an emergency meeting in Kano and discussed my program. I said, you see an Hausa man, he's selling currency at Owerri Road. You don't know when he comes in and when he goes. If you see a Yoruba man, he's about the tailoring service. They won't even buy an empty land. But an Igbo man comes to your place, buys land, develops it, makes sure they build a school. Igbo State Union built a college in Kano in the 50s that everybody was going to school. Is that hatred? Do we hate this country? Why do they hate us so much?
Just coming in here. I know that this is quite very emotional, and it's a conversation that, when played up, brings in a lot of history into foreplay. But the elections in Anambra State, let's look at that in view. What are the chances of the candidates, and of course the effectiveness of zoning during the election? What do you see?
You see, the zoning is very paramount. It is part of the problem. When Jonathan was finishing, the North was clamoring, it is our turn. It's not a constitutional provision, but it makes for inclusion, for representation. If this government was serious, look at the problem in Southern Kaduna. Every state has 3 senatorial zones. There's no way somebody from Southern Kaduna will be governor in Kaduna State, unless there's rotation of power. There's no way an Idoma person will ever be governor in Benue State, unless there's rotation. And these are part of the problems instigating controversies and violence all over the place. If you give somebody hope that he knows the South goes, the Central will go, the North will go, because it was Peter Obi, and God bless him, who started zoning in Anambra State, at his, about 6 months to his to the end of his second term. I was among the few people he invited for breakfast. And he said, Chief Dan, this is what I'm thinking about. I said, it's brilliant. Start involving people. Because if not for that process, there is no way somebody from Anambra North, they don't have as much money as the South or the Central for them to be able to push themselves. That was why this governor, who is there now, became governor. Because probably most of the money he used to be governor was brought from the South and the Central. So we now know that if it moves, if this is your turn, next time is somebody else's turn. Next time is somebody else's turn. I come from, we're a one-town local government. We have a chairman, a council chairman, we have a state assembly. It moves from around the 4 villages. So once it is town of Otolo, where I come from, every party goes there to get a candidate for either chairmanship or whatever. When it is time for this, you go to that village to get, and it goes orderly. Because everybody qualified to do something, one thing or the other.
Now, Chief, I had one of the candidates of one of the parties contesting for this election, in fact, one of the contenders, on this show last week, who said that the issue of zoning appears to be alien to Anambra State, that even when P2B you're talking about was contesting, that people from everywhere, all the senatorial districts contested, from the South, from the North, from the Central, that they all contested, and even when Obiano was contesting as well. So how come it's becoming an issue now?
Well,
what would you say about that?
Let me use my phraseology again. He has a relaxed relationship with the truth. Because when he was on that program, he failed to tell the country, most people who were listening to him, that those who defied the zoning also failed in the elections. He failed. It was convenient for him Because I told him that it's a constitutional problem. Anybody can run. But if a society decides for the convenience of progress to say that Nkoli will go after you, Ada will go after Ada, it is me. There's nothing wrong in agreement. There's absolutely nothing. But he failed to indicate that the names he mentioned, the present APGA candidate, Soludo, was among those who defied that, and he failed. I thought he came third or fourth. Let us see what will happen on the 6th. 90% of Anambrarians believe in zoning because it helps for inclusion of every part of the state. It makes for inclusion of every part of the state. So he would have been eager. Like, there was something again I heard him say on television, that when Senator Uche Kunife, that they all agreed that they would support him for governorship. And Senator Kunife, we all came on flight yesterday. They said it's false. Because somebody was given the senatorial seat of PDP in Anambra Central, and he ran away, said he didn't want it. Then Shidoka, the former minister, was asked to come up. He said that he had just finished running for governor, he doesn't want to. And then this candidate you were talking about, Obiora Okonkwo, was offered, and he said he wasn't going to participate in any elective office. Ask Uche Kunife, she quoted it, and he ran away. He ran away. By that time, Uche Kunife already had the ticket of APC. It took both P2B and myself to convince her to come up to run. And she ran and won the whole 7 local governments in the central. So how can you say that there was an agreement? There was no agreement. So it's not enough. Zoning is not a constitutional matter, but it's a matter of theoretical convenience for inclusion.
All right, a good point to leave this discussion. We must thank you
Absolutely.
very much.